Hey everybody, happy Wine Wednesday. Kevin and Robin here with some fantastic wines, some really exciting stuff from Domaine Pavolo.
Yes, Pavolo is, we used to have it all the time in the shop, but as Pinot Noir has gotten more and more expensive and Burgundy has gotten more and more rare, this guy hasn't seemed to been on the shelf as much as I'd like it to be, because this is, to me, is always, I think, one of the best values of the year, and I think people have discovered that it's worth buying by the case, maybe, because we don't seem to have it around too much anymore, do we?
Anytime I can find Burgundy for under $40, I'm in.
Yeah.
And so is everyone else, clearly.
Yeah. I don't think, you're not the only one, sadly. And if you know the history of Pavolo at all, I mean, I think this was actually the first Burgundy producer we ever signed, because
amazing.
Yeah, we've got these going back, into the 90s when we were carrying these. So it's awesome. Every year we get them. I think 2020 is certainly one of their most successful vintages. It was a great vintage in Burgundy. In a lot of areas, but for sure Sauvigny-les-Beaune did really well. Slightly warmer years, so places like Sauvigny-les-Beaune, which is just next to the town of Beaune and kind of like back in the hills a little bit. So whereas a lot of Burgundy appellations kind of sit more front and center on the cote or the hillside, Sauvigny-les-Beaune is kind of tucked back a little bit, right? Almost into the haute côte, into the hills. So in warm years, they love it because they need a little more heat back there. There's a little more shade back there. It's not quite the perfect place to capture all the sun, which is why Sauvigny-les-Beaune's less expensive than things like Meursault or Pommard or Gevrey Chambertin or some of the other ones you might know. But this guy, Hugh Pavolo, who's been making wine there for a good 20 or so years now, he took over from his dad. He's making some of, I think, the most exciting wine, if not the most exciting wine in Sauvigny-les-Beaune, and price points for his wine still, I mean, they seem insanely good compared to what else is out there.
For sure. I mean, this is $37.95 on the shelf, which is a crazy steal of a deal. And then as you get up into the village level and Premier Cru single vineyard sites, we're still only at like 50, 60, 80 bucks at top, which is insane.
It is, especially when you think about how ageable these wines are. Even in the basic Bourgogne, you can sit this down for a few years and it's only going to get better. Although I don't think many people will, because it's only $37 and it's tasting fantastic right now. But his basic Sauvigny-les-Beaune will age 10 years. The Premier Crus will age 15 to 20, no problem. And I think these 2020s are going to be some of the most exciting ones we've had in a while.
Burgundy is really interesting because depending on your producer and again the village and where you're coming from, they can be so strikingly different. What I love about Pavolo is it always has this little element of like freshness and lightness to it, but it doesn't come across in like a watery or sort of flabby way. Like there's so much intensity and dimension to the flavor profile.
Yeah, I would say Sauvigny-les-Beaune in general is going to have more of the red fruits versus the black fruits. It's got a nice kind of red cherry and raspberry thing going on, but it's also got these really like warm kind of spices. Yeah. I think these wines just drink incredibly well when they're young, but if you do have the patience to hang on to the Premier Crus, they're dynamite, and they're providing some of the best value out there.
For sure. And Pinot Noir and Burgundy is going to go really well with upcoming festivities, should you be having them too. So
good point. There you go.
Throwing it out there.
What's coming up?
Little Thanksgiving, maybe Tuesday.
Sure. The weekend. Well,
all kinds of things.
What was the idea behind the pack this week? You got a little Clos de Royat and you got a little Chardonnay from Beaujolais, so I see a bit of a theme going on.
A little bit of a theme. So I mean, we're calling it autumn in Burgundy, but that's because I think sometimes when we're thinking Burgundy, we're only thinking Pinot Noir. But Beaujolais is actually still technically part of Burgundy, so we've still got some Chardonnay from another region. And we've got a little Gamay, but not just your entry-level Gamay. We've got the Fleury, which is one of those Cru appellations, and you're getting Gamay that's got a little more intensity.
Yeah, in fact, when these wines get old, and if you're smart, you buy these and put them in your cellar, because this is a wine that definitely improves with age. I've been lucky to visit this winery on lots of occasions, and they're very generous people, and they always open up old wines for us. So I've been lucky to taste 20 or 25-year-old versions of this. And when the wine gets old, it's really hard to tell it from Pinot Noir, actually. Like Old Beaujolais, you really see why it's part of Burgundy, because there's a lot less to differentiate the old wines than there is sort of maybe in a younger version.
And then a little Chardonnay, because Chardonnay is going to be our most common and widely known white varietal within the region. However, this is actually one that comes to us from Jeff Carell, one of our little favorite winemakers. beers that we've talked about
He's got his
plenty
hands
of
in,
times.
He's got his hands in everything, doesn't he?
He knows what's up.
Yeah, he helps market this one because it's just a little winery and they didn't really have the wherewithal to get it out into the international markets like Canada. So he doesn't really make the wine, but he just helps them with the marketing piece of it.
Totally.
We always think of Beaujolais as red wine, but Beaujolais and the Macon really kind of cross over. So you get some great Chardonnays out of there, and with the price points, that we're starting to see in Burgundy, we're looking further afield for some more interesting ideas. And I love these. I think they're a little fresher and they're softer and kind of more easygoing, but it's not a big oaky, intense style of Chardonnay. It's just like kind of I think a really bright, kind of easy drinking style.
Yeah, this one falls right in the middle of that like heavier style versus like really lean like some of the Macon. It's got like just enough richness. It's your perfect little fall white. So.
All right, and what do we? You can buy these online.
Yeah, this is all coming together for you in one pack, and we've got them online. Nice little discount on there for you. Nice. And of course, you can come in and taste Pavelo with us.
Well, it's open now, so you might as well come in and try it. So yeah.
Definitely.
All right.
We've got Beer Fest back and coming up Halloween weekend, so hop online. Tickets are starting to move for that. You want to get them quickly. Come in costume because we always have a good time.
Beer Fest. It's
Fest.
been so long since we've been able to do it. It's exciting. So I'm sure lots of you remember the Beer Fest. It's a good time. We've got tons of interesting, cool, different beers, lots of local stuff. So that's always a good chance to try a whole bunch of things that you probably won't see too often. So it's not your everyday beer fest, right?
It's not.
Yeah, it's not like the Corona, Budweiser kind of thing. We're gonna go. Going on a deep dive here. So that's a fun one to check out.
Yep.
This is open. Probably have a few other things open this weekend too, won't we?
Always going to be a couple other things open.
So lots of things.
Maybe even some with Chardonnay.
Yeah.
Come in and try it.
There you go. Lots of new stuff hitting the shelves, and I know Robin's usually pretty loose with the corkscrew, so I bet you if you come in on Saturday, there'll be something fun open to try.
You know me so well. Okay, let's see you.